channel by clicking on the interpretation icon in the Zoom toolbar. It looks like a globe. If you are on your cell phone or tablet, locate the three dots, tap them lightly, and put a check mark on your preferred language. Click Done to activate and begin the interpretation. Once you join the Spanish channel, we recommend you shut off the main audio so you only hear the Spanish interpretation. Claudia, will you please restate this in Spanish?
Yes. Buenos días a todos, bienvenidos. Les invitamos a todos a seleccionar el español si está limitado en su dominio de inglés. De esta manera puede escuchar a las intérpretes del inglés al español. Si se encuentra en su computadora, existe un globo terráqueo en la parte inferior de su pantalla que dice Interpretación. Puede usted hacer un clic en ello y seleccionar el idioma de español. Si está utilizando su celular, tableta o iPad, puede ubicar los tres puntitos a mano derecha de su pantalla, ya sea en la parte superior o inferior. Puede usted hacer un clic ligeramente en ellos y de nuevo seleccionar el idioma español. A favor de hacer un clic donde dice terminar o done, finalizarlo. Este último paso es muy importante para activar la interpretación. Muchísimas gracias. Estamos a sus órdenes. Thank you very much. Back to you.
All right. Good morning. We are going to call this meeting to order at 9 a.m. Can we take roll, please?
Yes, good morning. Committee Member McDonald? Here. Chair Krepke?
Here.
And Committee Member Fleming is absent by prior arrangement.
All right, thank you very much. No remote participation. Any announcements from staff? Seeing none. We'll go to approval of minutes. Any edit to the minutes? All right. Turn on the mic. All right, we're going to take a pause real quick on the minutes. I have no edits. All right, no edits. We'll go to public comment. No public. We'll show those adopted as submitted. We'll go to public comment on non-agenda items. This is the public's chance to comment on anything within the purview of the Public Safety Subcommittee. Since there is no public here, we will go ahead and close public comment on non-agenda items. And we will move to new business. Item 6.1, Measure H Implementation Plan. Chief Westrop.
Good morning, Chair Krepke, Councilmember McDonald. Scott Westrop, Fire Chief of the City of Santa Rosa Fire Department. Today, I want to go through briefly where we're at with Measure H implementation and kind of give the subcommittee an update on where we're at. So as you recall, Measure H was passed by voters on March 5th of 2024. The City of Santa Rosa receives 14.4% of the direct funding from Measure H proceeds, which is a countywide half-cent sales tax measure. And then we have our REDCOM fees covered, which is equates to about $1.5 million as far as countywide technology and training fees we receive indirectly as well. We have received 2 payments on 2 tax rolls to date, totaling just about $4.2 million in the bank currently. And we have an approved financial plan, and I just want to review where we're at with the financial plan and what it's going to provide for the Santa Rosa Fire Department. It's one additional engine company. This is a 3-person staff, 24/7 engine company that will be located in the southeast side of Santa Rosa. And we are working towards building a new fire station for that engine company, which will be Station 9. As you recall, you approved, full council approved the sale of the Franz Kafka property last year, which was actually has been in existence in the ownership of the City of Santa Rosa since 1998, but our current deployment analysis and strategic plan shows that's not the currently appropriate location for Station 9. So we're looking in the area of Santa Rosa Avenue and Elsa Drive is essentially where we're looking for Engine 9. Measure H also provides for 2 additional vegetation management inspectors. one additional on-duty battalion chief. We currently have one battalion chief that oversees 14 companies, so their span of control is way too high. So this brings in a second battalion chief, and we'll be splitting the city into a north-south configuration with 2 battalion chiefs. And then we're going to get to a 2-person staffed, eventually we'll expand that, but initially a 2-person staffed 24/7 heavy rescue, which accounts for 6 FTEs. This will be a countywide operational area resource for shoring, trench, collapse, anything like that. So it'll be the first of its kind in our county. And it also provides for administrative support of tax implementation and maintenance. So I just wanted to share with you what essentially the leader's intent or the strategy was that I gave the team to build this implementation plan with, so you understand where they were coming from. It's to remain within the established financial plan and with long-term financial fiduciary responsibility and sustainability, number 1. Number 2 is balance the need for additional resources with what is reasonable and rational for the organization's capabilities. And what this means is we're in dire need of assistance on the streets. Our response times are long, our call volume's way up from the last time we added resources. So we all know, you all and we all know that we need more resources on the street, but we want to do it right. We want to do it responsibly. And lastly is to protect the current workforce and provide stability with forecasted general fund reductions in the next fiscal year. So on to sort of the meat of the conversation here is the implementation timeline that we have established, and there's a lot to this that I won't go into great detail on, but with the fire inspectors, we can immediately implement the fire inspectors, and the way that's accomplished is that we have 2 limited term fire inspectors currently on staff that are hired under vegetation management, which is a grant-funded, they're grant-funded positions. So we've transferred them over to FTEs under Measure H, and then we'll backfill the LT position. So we're able to do that immediately and provide stability for those 2 employees to make sure that they have an FTE versus an LTE position. And then the exciting news is that Engine 9 and Battalion 2 are both going to go into service at the same time on October 6, 2025. So that gives us about 3 months at this point to get those resources ready to go. We're going to put them in service on October 6th, but we'll announce it. We're going to do a more robust ribbon cutting type ceremony on the anniversary of the Tubbs fire. We feel that it's an appropriate time to talk about the additional resources the community is providing via sales tax funding on the anniversary of the Tubbs fire on the 8th. And then Rescue 1 will be go in service. Right now it's scheduled to go in service July 1st of 2026. There's a lot to putting a new company and a new resource that we've never had before into service. It constitutes rewriting all of our policies, all of our procedures, all of our company standards. So there's a lot of work that goes into that, and I'll talk a little bit about how we're planning to do that. But that's the initial timeline for all of these resources. They're all subject to change. I've been very clear to our staff and to the city manager that none of this is set in stone, so they could be moved up if things work out really well and we're able to get the resources and the staffing in place, or they might have to be delayed if we run into problems there. And sort of in summary, and this is to just kind of encapsulate some questions that are commonly asked with this, is the way that we're going to implement the rescue is we've already started working on a rescue working group. And so that's a small team within the organization led by Chief Jenkins that's going to start working on all those administrative policies that need to be reviewed and revised, coming up with exactly how this new resource is going to be deployed in the city. And then we're working currently with real estate on a location for both temporary and permanent Station 9. One of the things we're exploring is can we find storefront space, something that's inexpensive where we can get Engine 9 in service and at least during daytime hours down the avenue to provide service to the southeast and the lower part of the avenue. So if we can make that work financially and we can make it work logistically, we're working with real estate on that and also identifying the property for Station 9. The fire inspectors, we're getting them, they're already in service. Now it's just the backfill portion. Engine 9 and Battalion 2, October 6th, Rescue 1, July 1st. So initially what we're going to do with this October 6th start date with Engine 9 is they're going to be sleeping at least at Station 1. We have the accommodations for them at Station 1, so they can still provide that service to the southeast, but hopefully during the daytime we can find a place for them to be on the lower part of the avenue. And then the immediate plan is once Station 5 opens is to have Battalion 2 working out of Station 5 to that north-south split. Eventually we'll move them to the new Station 8 when we open the new Station 8. So again, those timelines are subject to change, but that's the general plan for where we're at with the logistic piece of the resource deployment. And with that, that's the end of my presentation. I'll turn it over to you for any questions or comments you may have.
Thank you, Chief. One clarifying question real quick. Station 8. I'm not good with types of engines and locations of stations, so where's Station 8? Station 8
is currently at 830 Burbank Avenue in Roseland, and it will be moving to the new Station 8, which is the corner of Dutton and Hearn across from Steve-O's Market.
Thank you. Any questions? Go ahead.
Thanks, Chief. I'm new to the committee, so can you give me a brief explanation of what Rescue 1 is?
Absolutely. So in several iterations of our strategic plan and our deployment analysis that we have, there's a call for a third truck company. So we have a truck company downtown, we have a truck company on the west side. We don't really have anything on the east side. So what we came up with was this concept of moving the heavy rescue, which is a resource that we own and cross-staff, that's located at Station 1. So it has a whole different assembly of tools. It doesn't carry water, it doesn't carry hose. But it's built like a fire engine. So it has advanced shoring tools. So if a building collapse happens, we can shore up the building to facilitate rescues and recoveries. If there's a trench collapse, it has the tools for that. If we need if we need metal cut, we can cut through metal. If we need concrete cut, we can cut through concrete. So really it's a specialized tool with specialized training. As you know, we're part of California Task Force 4, which is a USAR task force, so this could become part of that. But we don't have a heavy rescue for those resources in the North Bay, really, other than San Francisco. So we would be the premier first go-to heavy rescue in the North Bay, north of San Francisco. So it's a big resource to have for the entire community. The current rescue that we have is actually an operational area resource. So it was bought through SHISHGAP back when SHISHGAP, the State Homeland Security Grant Program, was much more prolific, and resources were much cheaper to buy. So it's owned by the op area. So that was a last minute deal that we worked out through the Measure H Fire Service Working Group team is, hey, we have this resource, we have it in our plans to have this, we can make it an operational area resource, we just need the funding for the people. And so that's how we landed there. So it'll be deployed to all types of calls. It's not just going to sit and wait for the right call, but just like the rest of our resources, it'll go to medical aids, it'll go to car crashes. But when we have that catalyst event, either in the city or in the surrounding areas, it'll be deployed to that as well.
And then I just had a question. You said that there's 2 people that are going to be working on heavy rescue, but that's going to be a county-wide. But this is city tax dollars. I'm just curious how that works out when they do distribution of the funds.
Sure. So I may have misspoken on that. So our rescue working group is led by Chief Jenkins. It'll be 6 to 8 people of Santa Rosa Fire Department personnel with that specialty set of subject matter experts. They're going to be working on what it looks like for the city first. So it's changes of our policies, changes of our procedures, changes to our company standards, all the things that we have to do to make sure it's deployed in the city first. And then really what happens then is if there is a building collapse in Healdsburg, per se, they could be special requested to go up there. They'll work within our rules, but they'll just be special requested to another part of the community. So we have to take care of how we're going to operate it first, and then that just translates over onto how it's going to work throughout the county.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Chief. 2 questions. For Heavy Rescue 1, as you just described, could be used countywide or North Bay-wide in the right circumstances. Is that considered mutual aid, or would we get compensated for the use from other agencies of that?
It would be considered mutual aid.
Okay. And then the caveat on this presentation is currently financially approved. Can you touch high level on some of the other concepts that have not yet been approved but are in the works for Measure H?
So the current financial plan looked at the funding that we know or predict we're going to have. So it looked at 10 years to live solvently in and of itself. So Measure H lives in and of itself and doesn't touch the general fund is the direction that we've been given, and we've worked under develop a financial plan. Now, if we see a major spike in sales tax revenue, if we see a decrease in sales tax revenue, or if things change throughout the course of time, the sales tax lives until rescinded by voters. So things could change. Eventually, we do want to get to a point where this sales tax measure provides for funding for 2 additional engine companies. And so we were trying to build 3 stations and add the rescue. So the problem we've seen throughout the county is when we built this sales tax in fiscal year 21, prices were X, and then when it passed and then into implementation, prices are Z for personnel, for infrastructure, for resources, for all these things. So throughout the county, we're seeing that what we planned on is not being able to be what we're going to deliver, but we had to build a 10-year solvent plan financially to make sure it didn't impact the general fund, especially considering the state of the general fund. And then as we progress through the course of time, future leadership in this organization will be able to use this sales tax measure to increase expanding resources and facilities throughout the community. So it's sort of undefined at this point based on we have to live within this financial plan for now. But as things change with the plan, or as we start to pay off debt, or whatever the case may be, as we really start to see what the actuals are on the financial piece, we can augment and change the plan. So it's essentially what I'm saying here in a very long explanation. It's a living document based on what we see financially.
All right, thank you. Those are all of my questions. We'll go to public comment, seeing as how there's no public present, unless Santa Rosa's finest would like to comment on the fire department. You're good? Okay. Then we will bring it back for final comments. Any final comments? Thank you so much, Chief. Really appreciate this. I'd like to see this come back every now and then just so we have a regular update. And I know currently the Measure H Oversight Committee is finding time to meet, so we should have more and more information as the months go on, but I really appreciate this.
Great, thank you, and will do.
All right, with that, we will move on to item 6.2, Downtown Enforcement Team Update. Chief Cregan and team.
All right. Good morning, Chair Krupke and Councilmember McDonald. I'm John Cregan, the Santa Rosa Chief of Police, and I brought with me today the 2 of our supervisors who are so involved with our downtown enforcement team. First Sergeant Tim Barrett, who manages and runs our downtown enforcement team, and Captain Dan Morenzik, who oversees our field services division, which is all of our uniformed personnel. So Sergeant Barrett and Captain Morenzik are going to go through this presentation.
Good morning. So the downtown enforcement team is the team that's primarily responsible for patrolling the downtown footprint. They're also the team that's primarily responsible for dealing with homeless issues throughout the city of Santa Rosa. Since 2024 through the end of June, my team has responded to 2,400 calls and has made 650 arrests. We regularly partner with the community groups and businesses to address quality of life concerns. As I previously said, the downtown enforcement team engages with homeless throughout the city of Santa Rosa. We also collaborate with beat officers and beat sergeants to address homeless issues in those specific beats throughout the city. And we also respond to any other hot calls or crimes that might be occurring throughout the city. Excuse me. The downtown enforcement team has seen a significant reduction in homelessness throughout the city. There are currently no large encampments present due to DET's ongoing efforts. We also have had successful collaboration with city departments and external agencies. Through EEE, the downtown enforcement team has partnered with Fire, Code, Public Works, Housing and Community Services, community partners, and the DAO, the Downtown Action Organization. Our regular operations have had a major impact on homelessness throughout the city. Preliminary numbers in 2025 show approximately a 23% decrease. That's for the county. The city of Santa Rosa has the largest homeless population in the county, so we're anticipating similar numbers for the city. Through EEE, Public Works has picked up approximately 1,300 cubic yards of trash since July of 24 through the fiscal year. There are only currently 8 active encampments at the end of June 2025. Including our regular operations, we do additional operations with other units, including specific parking garage operations to deal with complaints of theft and loitering. We also do regular holiday foot patrols with our volunteers. We're regularly downtown on the weekends for special events, and we adjust our hours and leverage grant funding to conduct evening and night operations. Recently, the downtown enforcement team moved into the Santa Rosa Plaza substation. We moved in mid-April of this year. It's been a strong partnership with the plaza. It's created a high visibility location, which has increased police presence. It's also given additional presence to the Railroad Square side of downtown, which has typically been, has had less presence. It also has reinforced the city's commitment to economic development downtown, showing a strong partnership with the plaza. From May 24 through July 24, there's been 203 calls of service. And that same time this year, since the downtown team moved into the plaza, we've seen a significant reduction of only 128 calls for service. This is a photo of the ribbon cutting at the plaza, and that's our office. On August 10th, we will reduce our team by 25%. We'll go down to 6 officers from 8 officers. The advantage of having 8 officers on the downtown enforcement team has provided 7-day week coverage and additional hours of patrolling. We're still in discussions, but this will inevitably have an impact on our scheduling and how many days and hours we're able to work. We will likely see an increase in homelessness issues throughout the city and downtown. And then also additionally having fewer officers will reduce our capacity to assist other units, including detective units and other uniform capacity units in their missions.
I'll turn over to Captain Marins if he wants to add anything now about how he's utilizing with our patrol resources to supplement and fill some of these voids in any of the other operations we have in patrol.
Yeah, I'll just touch on Sergeant Barrett's presentation real briefly. And one of the things that's obviously come up with the reduction of funding is the reduction of the downtown enforcement team from 8 officers to 6. So just for some kind of clarity or context, that's something that we're still evaluating department-wide what that impact is going to be in terms of how are we going to staff DET, right? We're probably looking at a reduction, whether it's going to be the hours of the day or weekend hours, or there's several different options that we're looking at right now. But obviously our overall goal is, with the reduction of 8 officers to 6, is to minimize that impact as much as we possibly can. So we should hopefully be finalizing what that DET schedule is going to look like in the next couple of weeks.
And just to add from that, that's our job. So we're sitting down as a command staff team. We saw reductions across with some of the significant budget issues. And that's what my job now to do is, like, how do we minimize those impacts? And how do we utilize, whether it be technologies with our community partners or other city departments, to fill some of this void? And ultimately, just really proud of the work of our downtown enforcement team and how we're supporting that with all of our patrol resources with the calls they're going to. So I'll turn it back over to the chair for any questions.
Councilmember McDonald.
Thank you, Chair. So I'm sorry, I didn't realize there was going to be a cut to the downtown enforcement team by 2 officers. Have we communicated that to the businesses and partners, specifically the plaza, when they've had a 50% cut in calls?
Yeah, we've had quite a bit of conversations with our downtown merchants. I just was with the Metro Advocacy Committee last week, and Sergeant Barrett has daily communication with the Santa Rosa Plaza and our others with it. We discussed it during the budget cut discussions that those were going to be the teams that were going to have to be impacted. We lost 8 sworn officers and a sergeant with it, and so we tried to work to spread. My goal as the chief was to look at like how do we spread those 9 sworn officers, but without eliminating any one team. So we spread it out amongst with our downtown enforcement team, our K9 team. We lost 2 patrol officers with it, a background investigator, a traffic sergeant, a motorcycle officer. We tried to spread it out so there would be certainly going to be impacts, but it's not going to be as severe of losing an entire team with it, which would even have a greater hit to us.
And I appreciate all that you're doing to try to minimize the impact to the community. I just consistently hear from businesses that the downtown enforcement team has made such a huge impact on having that presence. So I have concern over that and in the fiscal impact of people not going into the mall when you've seen such a huge reduction in issues there. And so I'm wondering if there's been any conversation with the plaza or other businesses to help supplement some of the cuts we're seeing in the city to help actually not reduce the downtown enforcement team, or if that's even possible for us to work with them on that.
Those will be certainly conversations we'll continue to have in that partnership. And Santa Rosa Plaza really did put some skin in the game by giving us the substation for completely free with a 10-year lease for free. We are in discussions with them about potentially adding like a community service officer who could like operate a lobby there at the substation there that the plaza would be able to support by paying for. So we're in preliminary conversations about those things. But certainly we'll continue to work with our community stakeholders. In the meantime, our job is to look like how do we mitigate this, how do we work through this, and how do we work on the efficiency of our available resources, supplement it with technology and any other resources that we have. But at the end of the day, the reality is there will be some impacts of reducing the size of the downtown enforcement team. And luckily we have Sergeant Baird, who's worked it not only as an officer with that team, but now has led it very successfully as a sergeant, and like his leadership of the team is evident.
Yeah, well, I just want to say thank you for all that you're doing. I could see the impact in the downtown area. We see that a lot of people are coming out to our events and that your presence is there and always with a respectful, impact on the community and how they interact with everyone. So I just want to say thank you first and foremost to all that you do. But just wanted to know about some of those impacts as I'm here today. Thanks.
All right, thanks. I really appreciate that presentation. A couple questions. When it comes to the unhoused population, one of the larger, I guess, set of complaints comes from recreational vehicles and parking. Where do we stand on enforcing that, and what tools do we have?
I'll let Sergeant Barry go a little bit deeper into the details. We do have a full-time abandoned vehicle technician, and she's towed literally hundreds of RVs and abandoned vehicles off the streets of Santa Rosa over the last years with it. So we currently have an ordinance that says for 72 hours that you can remain parked in one spot, and then you have to be moved, and we can do a citation, ultimately go through a removal process if the occupant of the vehicle or RV refuses to comply. We also partnered with Community Housing Service with our Safe Parking program, which has over 50 vehicles there with it. And you've seen a transformation, quite frankly, in the streets of Santa Rosa with the DET team really combined with our abandoned vehicle technician with it. But I'll let Tim Barrett maybe provide some more details because he's really doing the work out there every day on this issue.
Yeah, I think the chief took most of my thunder, but we do regularly enforce vehicles that are abandoned through AVA with Paul Fiore, our tech, and then my team also regularly does it on Wednesdays, our EEE enforcement days. We're regularly identifying encampments, potential encampments that are violating the law, and address those. We use the 72 hours. We also use state codes for having like a vehicle on the roadway expired more than 6 months. We also try to identify any kind of emergency hazards to the environment, like people who are polluting waterways is a significant issue in our community that we take seriously, and so we do regularly enforce on those. And we have seen a significant reduction over the last 2 to 3 years. If you think there was a time we had large vehicle encampments in the city, and we have no large vehicle encampments right now. So we do regularly take enforcement. It's kind of an ongoing issue that we sort of fall around the city, but we do our best to try to address it.
All right. Would you say that you have all the tools that you need to address the situation, or is there anything more that we can do?
We have looked at a city about making changes to our ordinance with it, because we do see, unfortunately, people who use loopholes, like with the 72 hours, and we have people who are just moving different blocks every 72 hours, and it frustrates the neighbors with it. And there's kind of a circuit of some of these vehicles with it. So we have examined, working with our city attorney's office and Transportation and Public Works and Housing and Community Services, about other ordinances. And you're seeing one just recently that came up in San Francisco of having no RV parking throughout the whole city, and maybe a permit process for people who are parking their camper in front of their house. So that's something that we'll continue the conversation on and work with our city leadership team on.
All right, thank you. And then my last question is, while we're trying not to criminalize homelessness, that doesn't mean that there's not a criminal element within homelessness. Same question, do you have all the tools you need to address that and really be effective at taking care of those that are not obeying the laws versus those that are just having a hard time?
Yeah, so I'd like to reiterate what you say is we do not want to criminalize homelessness. We want to identify criminal behavior throughout the city and enforce it the same way we would for any element of our population, regardless of their housing status. That's very important to us and something that we stand on. We have recently been making strides of getting the resources we need to be able to be more effective. One of the ones that's been important is being able to start booking offenders in jail for misdemeanors, which we haven't been able to recently. One of the other big things I think is important is to identify homelessness as a community-wide issue that requires collaboration throughout the entire county. And so assistance from the jail and from the DA's office additionally would be beneficial in making sure that we're getting prosecutions and people are being held accountable for their criminal behavior.
All right, thank you very much. All right, no more questions. We'll go to public comment. Any public comment on this item? Please go ahead and go up to one of the podiums. You'll have 3 minutes.
Okay. Thank you. My name's AJ Trombetta. I'm on Railroad Square's Board of Directors, and I just wanted to say how much we really appreciate Santa Rosa PD and the downtown enforcement team. We, work consistently to provide a safe shopping area for Santa Rosa and tourists coming off SMART. We have seen an increase in SMART ridership, and we're hoping that elements like disruptive homelessness or criminal behavior can be kept down. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much. With that, and I'll give Fire the same opportunity to say anything they want about the police department. You good? All right. And with that, we'll come back for final comments. Do you have any final comments? Yeah, again, thank you very much. It's noticeable to the businesses and the individuals, the impact you have across the county or across the city. Did you have something to say?
I did.
All right, I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
I did want to follow up with the question that you asked the team. I do think we need some additional ordinances on the books to address waterways. And I do think we need an additional push to address our service-resistant population. Now that we do have a county-wide approach to homelessness, we are starting to see more people infiltrate some of our shopping centers that are coming off the trail. We do hope that we're able to book people and that they stay in the jail longer, but I do think we do need some support to beef up some of our ordinances. And it's not that we want to criminalize homelessness, but we do have to determine how we're going to address the service-resistant population. I know the governor has implemented some mental health, not ordinances, yes, programs, yeah, thank you. And we need to work with the county to see if we can get some of those individuals into mental health services. So, I look forward to the team and whether it's housing, the fire department, or the police department to see how we can get some additional support to beef up some of our ordinances so we can take care of that service resistance population.
Thank you, City Manager. Yeah, I'll concur with you when it comes to waterways and service-resistant population. I think I'd like to see a set of possible ordinances come forward, either at this level or at the full council level, whichever way you'd like to go. I would be interested also in seeing if there's any modifications we can make to the RV ordinance to give, I mean, to your point, when you look at the safe parking program, if the right track is taken, it's successful. The safe parking program is pretty successful. And so I think it's one of those, if you're willing to take that and go that route, great. If not, then we need to have a little bit more, a few more teeth to address the issue. So I'd like to see some possible revisions, especially in light of San Francisco instituting something a little bit more stronger. But again, with that, I really do appreciate all that you do, and we'll move on to the next item. Thank you very much. 7, there's no matters held in committee, and so 8.1, Police Department update.
All right, thank you, Chair Krepke. I'll continue with the presentation and go through just some quick updates that we have from the police department, but just 2 of the themes is us continuing to reach out to our community, get more feedback, learn that what we could be doing better as an organization. And one of the first one is just going through here with our Chief's Community Advisory Team. And Chief Navarro actually started this team in approximately 2020 with it to be able to get some outside input. And when I stepped into the role of Chief in 2022, we made some changes and worked really closely with City Manager Markeisha Smith, where we had the applications come in and go directly to City Manager Smith. So she was able to vet through dozens of applications that come in throughout the city and then independently pick people spread out throughout the city with a wide array, both diversity of thought and of every other area in our city to be able to bring in. And what we don't want to do is like operate in the silo of the police department about with our policies, with our procedures, and really wanted to get a cross-section of feedback across our community. So we have over 20 community members. They meet with me once a month. They have my direct phone number and email. We talk about issues. I send out information to them on council agenda items that are dealing with the police department with it. We meet once a month for an hour and a half, and we go through each week we have or each month we have a different policy or issue we examine. So we've had our in-response mental health support team come before them. Tonight or tomorrow, actually, they're going to be meeting with our independent police auditor, and they get one-on-one time directly with our independent police auditor. I sent them out the annual report already, so they've already had a chance to preview it and digest the material, and they can ask direct questions of our auditor, learning what we could be doing better as an organization. We discuss with our pursuit policies, our use of force policies, so they're able to provide quite a lot of input. And for community members who want to learn more about this team, we also have an email that directly goes to this team, and it's contact CCAT for the Chiefs Community Advisory Team at srcity.org. It's on our website, and you can send in if there's a topic from the community, from council, from anyone who wants them to examine a topic and say, hey, we'd like you to look a little deeper at this police issue with it. You can contact the team. They can agendize the item, and they can study it and ask for more resources for the police department. So that's contact CCAT at srcity.org with it. It has also the name of our lieutenant. Lieutenant Dan Hackett is the liaison with his team. His emails on there are always a community member or city leader can reach out to me, and we can agendize a topic. It also has on our city webpage all of the pictures of our CCAT members and a quick bio of them, so you can kind of see transparently who's on the team and the input in, and I'm sure many of the faces could be recognizable in neighborhoods across our community. So love talking about that team, and for me it's been very educational as chief to be able to learn from this team, get their input, and excited to see what we can do. We actually just had a new group of community members step into the role last month, so we have a new team just starting right now. The other thing that we're doing with the same theme of getting the communication out is we've really seen an evolution with our beat newsletter. So we're doing this every other month, and we have our city is divided into 9 different patrol beats, and we have a lieutenant and a sergeant who are managing and supervising each one of those beats, and a set of officers who work the same beat for every 6 months with it. So that way they have some continuity of responding to the calls, getting to know their neighborhoods, and you see officers usually sign up for the same beats over over and over because they like whatever that area of town that they're used to, and getting to kind of build relationships in that community. So we're trying to push more information out. So we have this beat newsletter. The lieutenants write some beat specific issues about issues going on in the beat. We provide very specific stats about crime, traffic, any community concerns, and we're trying to identify themes in each one of the beats about how community members can be more recognizing some of the issues and how they can reach out to some of the city resources available there. Our public information officer has been so helpful for this too, of partnering with me to be able to create more of a voice from the chief, to be able to talk about more broad citywide issues about going on. And my goal is to be very accessible to the community, for the community to be able to understand some of the issues. So we added just this Chief's Corner that we're adding as a page like that to be able to provide more specific information. Love to hear from the community on topics you'd like us to be examining that I could be putting out on this, but it's all part of our overall goal, which is to be in partnership with the community and communicating as much as possible as some of the hot topics. For community members who want to be able to access the Beat newsletters, the easiest way is to sign up for Civic Ready, which all the police department messaging goes out on, and we put these out on Civic Ready. We also put them out through City Connections to the city, and they'll go out there as well, and on all of our social media platforms as well. So please, you don't have to sign up for the newsletter to sign up for Civic Ready. You'll get our messaging that'll go out there, and it's a way for us to hopefully communicate better with our community. And that's all the updates for me.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions? Okay, one question. If I am a resident, how do I find my beat?
That's a great question with it. So if you just Google like Santa, if you go to our website with it, and About Us is the section, and you go to the About Us section, it drops down and it has a header with beats, and it'll have all 9 beats, and you can enter your address, and it'll actually pop up exactly. There's also a map of the whole city, which shows like the beat dividers. But then what's really great is once you go to your beat, you can actually go and it'll have the name of the lieutenant, the sergeant, and all 9 officers who work that beat. So it'll have their names and their direct email address. So you can email directly to any of the officers working in your beat with it. And then I regularly get emails from community members concerned about different things in the community or asking for resources. So I send it directly to all the beat supervisors and have them reach out. So just let us know with that, because that helps us to be a little bit more on that micro level of understanding some of the things with it. So just Santa Rosa Police Department, About Us, beats, and it'll have all the information on there, and you can enter your address and learn more about it. And we're also trying to do more community events at each one of the different beats. So we have like a representation across the whole city of Santa Rosa. So be looking for that. We have some upcoming community events, including with National Night Out coming up on August 5th at Dick's Sporting Good over in Coddingtown too. So that's a great night, and we'll have our beat sergeants and supervisors out there that night.
Great, thank you very much. We'll go to public comment. Seeing none, we'll come back for comments.
I do have a quick question. On the Chief Community Advisory Team, do you guys ever talk about like top issues happening? I know like we have in VPP, we'll talk about the fentanyl crisis, we talk about what's happening with ICE in the community, because I feel like that many people are great spokespeople to get out and tell the community what's been happening. But I just wondered, is there a report out, or do you just study policies?
That's a great question. So we start every meeting with that, of just like a conversation, and we talk about hot topics with it. And as Chief and I talk about, so we've been talking about some of the same things you mentioned with fentanyl. Our last meeting last month, we spent probably 20 minutes talking about immigration and concerns. And then what I do is also use them to be a resource in the community. So after that meeting, I sent them our webpage, which has information with our policy on immigration enforcement, with more information on Senate Bill 54, which precludes law enforcement from being involved in any immigration resources, a letter from all the sheriffs, or all the chiefs and the sheriff who had joined in about our role with immigration. I sent that out and said that way now you guys can be kind of that information source out there in the community with it. So we examine each one of those, and we also just make it like an opportunity for anyone on the CCAT team if they just have questions of me about anything going on in the police department. So it's a really like open, transparent, kind of like organic time that we get to know each other with it like that, and be able to really be able to, and then we've been inviting them, our CCAT team, they have CCAT polos and a hat with it with a little Santa Rosa patch on it. So you'll see them coming out to community events, and I encourage them to wear their shirt and hat so other community members can say, oh, that's a member of the Chiefs Community Advisory Team. Let me go talk to them, or maybe I have a question on something that I want them to do. So they'll certainly be out there at National Night Out and some of our other community events coming up this summer.
Great. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. The one thing I would say is whether through your PIO or through CIRO or through the citywide newsletter, maybe finding it a little bit easier so that people to access what beat they're in or direct them to that. You know, I always think more eyes on it is better. Communication, I mean, that really is the granular community policing that we want. So any way we can push that out as much as possible would be great.
All right, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we will move on to the next item, 8.2, Fire Department update.
Good morning again, Chair Krepke and Councilmember McDonald, Scott Westrope, Fire Chief of the City of Santa Rosa. I don't have a presentation for this. I'm just going to slowly walk through it here. So as far as fire department update on staffing, looking at personnel, our current position control list is 168 FTE. I'll just note that this number is not reflective of all the changes coming up on both add and delete of employees based on the change in the general fund and Measure H. It does include the 12 SAFER employees. So on August 26th, per the budget resolution, we'll be eliminating 6 firefighters, leaving us with a net 2 firefighter positions that are currently vacant. We have had a retirement, and I've been informed of another retirement that will create more general fund vacancies. But we have the list to be able to fill that. And then on the opposite side of that for operations in Measure H, hopefully this week we'll see the Measure H positions added to position control. For in response, we have 2 vacant positions. We have 1 potential employee's completed background and 1 ready to go to background, but those positions are currently being held. And then as far as firefighter recruitment goes, we're actually seeing a lot of interest in Santa Rosa and a lot of both lateral and entry-level employees wanting to come to Santa Rosa. So we have a very well-established list for firefighters that'll fill both general fund and Measure H vacancies. In fire prevention, we have 1 FTE and then the 2 LT vacancies. The 2 LT vacancies are the fire inspectors that were transferred to Measure H, and then we have a vacant community outreach specialist, FT, that's currently vacant, and we're leaving it open to facilitate layoff bumping possibilities if anybody's interested throughout the city. In administration, we're currently at full staffing. We will be eliminating 1 FTE admin secretary in August, but we'll be transferring that employee to Measure H and changing her job responsibilities to deal with more of Measure H implementation, administrative roles and responsibilities, and we'll be eliminating a deputy emergency preparedness coordinator. And just of note for everyone, it is out there, but Chief Collins, TC, retired last Thursday, and his position is currently vacant and being eliminated through the budget. Moving on to fire stations, some happier news. If you haven't been by Station 5 construction in Fountain Grove is well underway. The estimated completion time for that fire station is October of this year. So we're really hoping to at least have some sort of presence around the anniversary of the tubs. But right now, CIRO and our PIO teams are working on a tentative grand opening date of somewhere between November 13th and 15th. So it's a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, based on where the dignitaries that we'd like to attend are available. But if you want to put that on your calendar as tentative hold, the 13th through the 15th is when we're going to do the big shindig up there. Fire Station 8 in Roseland, that property is moving along well. The grading plan, I was informed yesterday, is in and approved. So there is a possibility we could start breaking ground actually there this fall. The latest we would look at is probably January of 2026, and the tentative completion date for Fire Station 8 in Roseland is June of 2027. And then I talked quite a bit about the new Fire Station 9 property in the southeast. One thing I want to rise to the top is what we're really focusing on for Fire Station 9 is buying current commercial property and retrofitting it versus breaking ground, going through CEQA, the long and expensive process of that, plus the construction prices for fire stations in particular are just out of control. So we're really focusing on considering the geography and demographics of that area, being able to buy an existing building and retrofitting it. So it'd be a lot faster and quite a bit cheaper for us to do that. So that's my current direction to the team, and we're working closely with real estate on that. And then on fleet, we currently still have 5 Type 1 fire engines on order. That's our typical day-to-day fire engine you see driving around. They'll be exactly like Engine 1 and Engine 11, which everybody in the community sees quite a bit because they're so busy. 4 general fund capital fleet replacement engines, and 1 is a PSAP engine. They are designed and in the queue at our manufacturer. We believe they're going to go into production sometime in March with a I got the dates wrong here. We should be receiving them by March of next year. They're going into the assembly line soon, and we'll see them in March of next year. I've been told that date a couple years in a row now, though, so I'm not holding my breath. And then the two Type 6 fire engines that we purchased through PG&E settlement funds, we have those. They're going through their final fitting, and we're hoping to have them in service in the next 30 days or so. So it's just the last few little pieces of manufacturing that we do in-house, and then they'll be in service before the heart of the fire season. So that'll be a great addition to the fleet resources. And the last thing I'd like to mention is our team put together our first ever annual report. It'll be for calendar year 2024. You will actually be receiving a PDF copy of it today via a Council FYI, or whenever Council FYIs go out. I'll be sending it to the city manager and Sierra today for consideration. There'll be hard copies provided to the city manager's office and to the mayor's office. But it's a look at calendar year 2024. Really in totality, looking at a holistic view of the department in calendar year 24. The reason we're releasing it in July is twofold. Number one, it's the first time we've ever done it with limited staff, so our community outreach specialist, Krista Butts, pretty much carried the water on the entire project. And also we had to see how some things panned out through the fiscal year, so we're trying to find the sweet spot for a calendar year report based on a fiscal year budget to make sure that we're encapsulating everything appropriately. So you should be seeing that by the end of the week. And I think it's a real nice look at what we accomplished last calendar year. With that, turn it over to you for any questions or comments.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions? Nope. Again, Type 6 is the wildland.
So, sorry. I always get in trouble for being too technical. Type 6 is the smaller wildland fire engine. So it's built on a large pickup truck chassis. So they're becoming very prevalent. In fact, our current Type 6 just got back this morning. I haven't even informed the city manager of this yet. I was just informed sitting up there that engine 22, which is our current Type 6, just came back from a fire up in Trinity. So they're becoming really useful because they're so mobile and agile. That they're being requested a lot, and they're great for our interface. So it's not the big giant CAL FIRE type wildland fire engines. Those are our Type 3s, which we have 3 of. They're the smaller ones.
Got it. Thank you very much. With that, we'll go to public comment. Anybody in the audience want to comment? Seeing none, we will close public comment. Any final comments? Thank you very much, Chief. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And with that, that is our agenda for the day, and we will adjourn at 9:52.